Welcome to the World Mixed Double Curling Championships of 2013, coming to you live from Canada. We're in the Grant Harvey Centre in Fredericton. My name is Sarah Carlson. By my side, once again, is the very knowledgeable Dean Gemmell.
Thank you, Sarah. Glad to be here again.
Our featured game is between Australia and the USA. Both teams with one loss so far, looking to play their second game here. Mixed doubles is a competition of 27 teams divided into 3 groups. Here you see the standings in the B group, and both of our teams.
There
you
we
see
go.
them right there in the bottom half, still to pick up a win here.
Both teams coming into this 0-1. Both with long gaps between their first game and this one. USA is a husband-wife duo, Peter Stolt and Maureen Stolt, with Lenita Delaney as their coach. They're out of St. Paul, Minnesota.
For Australia, we have Jay Merchant and Lynn Gill. Their coach is Archie Merchant. We did have a draw to the button for Hammer. Said there that it was USA, but it was Australia that actually came in closest, so they will have Hammer when we start the first end.
Indeed they did. It was Australia getting closer. I think they were biting the button, and the USA was back 12 foot.
Where is it?
Mixed doubles curling is a little different than traditional curling, or a lot different. It's played in teams of 4. Of course, doubles making sense. It's 2 players, 1 male and 1 female. It's the same sheet of ice as traditional curling. Each team has 6 stones per end, but the first 2 are positioned stationary before play begins. The team with last rock places theirs biting the back of the button. The team without last rock places theirs as a center line guard. The order of play: 1 player throws the first and 5th stone of each end, and the other player throws stones 2, 3, and 4. That order can change from end to end. And the game is played to 8 ends instead of the 10 you'll see at a traditional curling world championship. And playing time, 46 minutes of playing time for each team. That hasn't seemed to be a problem so far. No team seems to have been time challenged, I guess, Sarah.
No, and we're seeing quite a traditional opening here. USA tried to freeze with their first. And here's the second attempt. Actually wrecks on the guard. So Australia now early on in the first end with the shot stone just back of the button, and the opportunity to get another one in here behind cover.
Top 8, that's fine. But I'd like top 4.
That's Jay Merchant from Australia talking there. We hear him. Originally from Calgary. And he's a lawyer, so I think he's going to talk a lot. What do you think about that, Sarah? I think he's going to give us a lot of information throughout the game.
I like it.
That ice looks good, Lynn?
And you could hear him say right there that they're looking for top 8, which is a very wise call, because they do have a hammer, and it's good to leave themselves some room to try and score more than 1.
Just for line.
We were speaking to Jay before the game started. He's from Calgary, moved to Australia, and gained citizenship to be part of their Olympic program. Played in Canada in Calgary. Played a bit with, say, Chris Shilley, and played in the Quebec Provincials in 2009 with Pierre Charette and Guy Hemmings. Played lead on that team. A little deep with that. And it looks like the USA is going to try to peel this or run it straight back. I don't know if I like the peel.
Well, with that, the run would probably be good, but with Australia actually coming in too deep, the freeze is still available for USA.
Oh, absolutely. You want to run it from the guard. So that was,
And we've had some talk about sweeping your own peels. Peter Stolt sure is up fast to catch us.
He was there about midway to catch up to that one. I don't know if I love that call, but straight peel without last rock.
The reason is others come down and triple it. So we basically want it about here.
Well, I reckon the same ice then, for what? Same weight.
Yeah, it didn't move very much. It didn't take the big swing that it normally has. I don't mind that because it's going to jam on that back one anyway, so that's fine. Okay.
So just a guard here, protecting the situation in the rings. Probably want to keep it quite tight since the freeze opportunity still is there for USA.
USA got down early in their first game, and that may be part of the reason for a fairly conservative call on Peter's last one. Maybe they're trying to not find themselves down like they were. Had a big layoff since their first game. They're one of the teams that's played one game, and now they're.
It's got to move.
It's been quite a while before this game.
Here it comes.
It's good. It's coming. No, 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 no. You don't want it too close.
That's
Whoa,
fine.
whoa, 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 whoa.
That's fine. I like that, actually.
I don't like that.
Tell us why, Dean.
Seems to me there's a triple there, or at least a double and stick there. Might jam, but you might spin out.
We'll get two of them for sure. Is the hair outside?
Well, the caution on that one, I should have been.
Well, he might be a lawyer, but we all know you're full of knowledge. So I'm going to take your word for this.
It's a criminal lawyer, actually. So, but I don't think you want that rock there.
Well, we'll see.
Does look like one yellow is maybe going to jam.
Certainly didn't.
Does look like the one yellow will jam, but if he leaves his shooter and gets rid of two yellows, be a good shot.
Whoa, whoa.
Big weight
Sounds
from
like
Peter
he was-
Stolt here, and quick up, but no sweeping called.
Well, he made the double the hard way, but get rid of two.
So a fairly open end to start with
I
here.
think we'll go right here.
Just a little bit.
Who's shot? Who's got next shot? They do? They've only got one left, eh? Is that right? Right.
Maureen has
the
skipped
tolerance
in
here
the
will be
U.S.
like,
Nationals
obviously.
and played second as well. Skipped a team last year to a fifth place in 2012 to a fifth place finish. Peter was a runner-up in the U.S. Juniors in 2000, playing lead. And they both played in the U.S. Mixed Nationals, the four-player mixed. And they were third in the U.S. Mixed Doubles last year.
Slider.
So this is the last stone for Jay of the first end.
Got plenty of weight.
I'd like to sit two here, but better be careful not to leave a double.
I got it. I got it.
I think he's deep again.
Okay. I still think we'll be okay. So much for being lighter, like I said it was going to be.
Peter's looking at the double and trying to decide whether the double jams. I think you're going to hit here anyways, no matter what.
Normal.
He's
I
just
think-
looking at hitting this through the gap.
Yeah, and leaving theirs there. Making the shot for two tough. Might be able to get a little bit of a roll in front of the other one. Being careful not to jam on your own red.
Little down.
Close.
9-7, 9.5.
Hurry!
I'll call the 9-7 out of her hand and her own.
Hurry!
That's a hog-to-hog time.
That's sweet.
So did remove the red. Maybe not the end of the world, but fairly straightforward draw for two now for Lynn Gill for Australia.
Yeah, they were lucky to hold that and not jam it, but just needs full 4 foot here. Can move her own a little bit if she were to come to that one. Lynn is the first native Australian to represent her country in a world championship in
I
curling.
think on the women's side, I think there's been a man before, but she's certainly the first woman.
Yeah, the first. Did I say the first woman? I said the first Australian, didn't I? Yes, the first woman native of Australia. She's been curling 7 years.
Yeah, she saw curling at the Olympics and just thought that that looks really interesting. And it took her a while to actually find some place where she could try it, but she just loves the sport now and the whole atmosphere of curling, so really proud to be representing her country here, of course.
It's not going to make the shot for 2, though.
No, it's all the way in the hack, and Australia just picks up the 1 in the first end.
That was good.
USA with the force.
Can you call it a force when there's not really a point in blanking? I don't know.
I know. I question that, too.
Well, if you have the answer or any other question, as always, you can post them on Twitter. Just use hashtag WMDCC2013.
I think we can still call it a force.
All right, then.
Official setting up the stones, as we talked about at top of this webcast. One biting one at the back of the button and the centerline guard. I believe the official can actually place that centerline guard at their discretion according to ice conditions. Ice here has a lot of movement. The rocks have a lot of movement, so it's placed close to the rings.
Yeah, I think they decide before every competition. They see how much swing there is on the ice, and after that, they make up a fixed spot where the guard is to be placed.
The Australians' home club is skating ice in Brisbane, but they travel to New Zealand to practice and train.
Yeah, Lynn actually told me that they had found stones under some stairs, took them out, replaced the handles, and she said they're not very good stones, but they work for practice.
Shocked that the stones you find under the stairs aren't very good.
Well, you take what you can get.
Would have been a great story if they found stones under the stairs and they were great stones.
We got about 3 minutes that.
But I guess in that case they wouldn't be under the stairs.
I'm just wondering who put them under the stairs to begin with.
Yes. If you had some curling stones lying around, I'm not sure if the first place I'd put them would be under the stairs.
Well, they take up a lot of space, curling stones.
We need a little more information on that. Maybe we'll find out a little which stairs and where. Peter Stolt working hard on this for line.
Yeah, I think we're going to see this like when the first team really, well, the first freeze would really rather be short than long. You just give your opponent the chance to put a lot of pressure on you. However, it's not the case with Peter's first stone. Still a chance for Australia to come round and freeze here.
I really think the Weagle on Peters would have been a good call again. We've said that all along, so, but almost got it.
Do you want to explain the Weagle?
The Weagle, well, Lisa Weagle played for Rachel Holman, plays lead for Rachel Holman, and threw a lot of tick shots this year where you just try to move the guard off the center line. They played that more than any other team, and she made a lot of them. So we've taken to calling that shot, or at least I have, others too, the Weagle, because you do sort of wiggle it over. Kind of works pretty nicely.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Her name is Weagle, and she makes a lot of them, so we'll call them Weagles.
Yep. See, we hadn't played much on that side, so I think it was going to be a little bit,
Starting to see a bit of a wall build up in front of the house here. Let's see if Maureen Stolt can find her way down and into the rings.
Bit of a wall in the front and behind the tee line. So we'll see what happens here.
I think we're certainly going to see the team that's first going to come around and plays a good one here with a quite the upper hand in the second end.
I think this rock is all over that yellow guard on the high side. Yeah. We'll see how demanding it is for a. This is our second husband-wife team. See how they fare. See if they need the massage therapist and the couples therapist after the game. So far, they seem to be getting along quite well, despite the fact that they may be struggling a bit.
I like here.
Oh, it's only the second end.
Plenty of time for this to unravel, isn't there?
Definitely.
Such drama here in mixed doubles.
I don't think we've really seen any drama yet, though.
No, we haven't, sadly. Maybe it begins now. No, I don't want to see that kind of drama. We'll see what happens, though. They seem to... Peter sells curling supplies, Shot Rock Curling in Minnesota. They curled at the St. Paul Curling Club, but there's a new club in the Twin Cities, a Four Seasons club, just opened this year. It's going to be open all year round. Comes Jay Merchant with big weight.
Yeah, run back called. And makes it. Won't hold the shooter, but really nice shot there.
Picks it out. Of course, the freeze is still available. Jay's father is coaching them in this event. Good freeze here, though. Turns the end back in favor of the United States.
Gotta go. Width close.
Got a curl. Yep. 12.
Width close. 6, 7, 6.
Waiting for it to curl. Again. Twice now, Maureen has set it maybe just a little bit. Hasn't curled enough, or they've had to wait to sweep it.
Even if I just
Yeah,
tuck
well,
it around,
she did sweep, and Peter just basically said whoa a couple of times. Maybe he should have said that no, you can't, you're on the guard.
Yeah, instead of just whoa, a little more communication there might have been helpful.
So once again, the opportunity is just handed over to the other team. Jay Merchant played big weight on his previous. Now that he's just going to play a draw. Really important to be in front of the tee line here. So Lynn said that mixed doubles curling, she thinks it's really a very good way to improve your curling skills because, well, you don't have the sweepers. You need to be absolutely perfect. So she figured it was a good way to learn.
This one not so perfect, less than perfect. I do think, you know, this format is good for developing countries. Allows them maybe another way to compete. And that's certainly what we see here with the 27 countries represented. And I think that this format is opening up the sport to some places that may not be in a world championship otherwise. Maureen Stolt. Now they changed the order here, didn't they? Didn't they play the first end with Maureen throwing 1 and 5?
Yeah, it's the first time we've actually seen a swap.
We'll see if that continues throughout the game. If they swap regularly, or if they I don't know how that sounded, but we'll see if they continue with that.
Really, really nice draw there. Maybe just a touch too deep if Australia can lock one on here.
Yeah, if they just left that biting the button, would have been good. I mean, it's over buried, so it would have been still fully buried even and just biting the button. But a good throw nonetheless, and a good result. Certainly puts the pressure on Lynn Gill here. She's got to move it. If she gets to the nose of it, though, and doesn't even move it, it certainly makes the deuce difficult.
Where is it?
Yeah, it's top 4.
Yep. Yep. Hurry. Okay, whoa.
Light and wasn't quite top 4 over curling. So now we'll see if this change in the rotation pays off for them. Pete threw 1, and now he's going to throw 5. He does skip in men's play. So, of course, his Marine skipped as well. We'll see if he can make the draw. He needs full 4-foot here for his deuce. Pete with the old lift delivery. Only seen by a few great curlers like Glenn Howard and Richard Hart.
And the German women.
German women, yes.
Well, line's good.
It's a little deep.
A few people think you should still practice that way, including Russ Howard. Thinks you should practice a lift when you practice, even if you don't throw with the lift delivery, to practice that.
And
But afraid he's found a hack as well.
so players just struggling a little bit here to find the draw weight. And score after 2 ends is 1 each. So let's see if Australia with hammer now can make something of the opportunities.
And it looks as if the United States is going to stick with this this rotation with Peter Stolt throwing 1 and 5 and Maureen Stolt throwing 2, 3, 4.
Thank you, sir. You're a good man.
On the other sheets, on sheet D, we have Slovakia against France. France out to an early 3-0 lead. Slovenia, yes, Slovenia against France. And France out to an early 3-0 lead. On sheet B, we have Austria and Denmark. And Austria out to a 3-0 lead. And on sheet A, we've got New Zealand against Czech Republic. And Czech Republic is up 1-0, with New Zealand having the hammer in the second end. Back to our feature match. After scoring 1 in the second, the United States starts off this end. Peter Stolt playing the come around.
Yeah, just getting another chance straight away here to find the draw weight. I think it's normally a bit hard when you've played the first stone and then you need to play a perfect draw with your last. It's been 3 stones in between, and you
I think it's an 8.
Just do it.
could maybe lose your draw weight in that time.
Lose your draw weight, you lose your car keys, you could lose a lot of things in that time.
Well, I hope they're not bringing their car keys to the game. That would.
They could lose their wallet. Kevin Park, the great Canadian curler, always played with a massive wallet in his back pocket.
Do you think that would put the opponents off? Like, check me out.
I think he was concerned that someone would lift it from the locker room, I guess. Never really asked him about that. But yeah, he always played with a wallet. Comes Lynn Gill. Age 44, started curling in 2005, as we noted earlier.
A little bit tougher.
Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa.
Got a bit.
Whoa.
Got a bit.
Whoa.
Here's an interesting thing. Peter Stolt. Oh, let me see this come in here. Creating a bit of a mitt back there now.
Yeah, the ice is really fast, but this is the third end, so players should have adapted by now and maybe try and find in front of the tee line.
Yeah, I don't think it's any faster than it has been, but both these teams have had some time off before this game, so they should be adjusting now.
You said you had some really interesting facts.
Not interesting. I sort of oversold that, I think, Sarah. But I'm just noting that Peter sells curling supplies, and he also wears his own seemingly handcrafted shoes, which I find a bit unusual. I think those are sneakers or tennis shoes or whatever else we might call them around the world, running shoes that he's fashioned into curling shoes.
I thought that was very interesting.
It was fascinating, isn't it? I just find it especially fascinating because he sells curling supplies.
So once again, not in front of the tee line.
I like that.
Sitting 2 at the moment, but there is room.
Okay, tight by the guard. Okay.
I don't know if he has to get that tight by the guard, to be
We'll
honest.
find out.
I mean, if he
We'll
settles,
find out.
if he settles in between those two, is pretty good.
Yeah, if he comes in between there, there's no real way for USA to remove the stone, and even if it's not shot, where do they get another one in?
And he really wants to maintain the angle on the high side rather than come across it, so I don't think he needs to get that tight to the guard, but we'll see. Here's Jay Merchant, age 30, started curling in 1992, as we noted before, originally from Alberta.
Yes.
Now has Australian citizenship.
Whoa. No. No, 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 no. Sorry, it's heavier than I
Well, he's not going to be that tight to the guard, but
got some weight.
Once again, it's just a weight issue.
Okay.
real opportunity here for the United States to put some pressure on. If they can make a freeze on their own here, really close down the scoring area. Even bite the button
we're the
would be
same thing.
pretty good.
Okay.
Might be
Throw the
better
same
than the
way.
freeze.
Softer release. I didn't finish it.
Yeah, looks like last line's good.
Saying the release was a little soft. We've talked about that this week on
Yeah.
this ice. You really want to be
Yeah.
positive with your release. So she's sweeping it
Line's
for
good.
line. She's saying 3. I think it's a little better than that. Actually, it looks like it's all there. Looks like she's going to be
Good shot.
very nice.
Yeah, really nice shot by Maureen on that one.
This way, that way.
Manages to put the pressure on Australia, who
Like
are going to
this.
struggle
Do
to
that for
score
now.
here.
Maybe even here. Problem is then they just guard it.
Now, the Stoltz won the USA title in early December in Bismarck, North Dakota, so they've had a long time to prepare for this event.
Yeah. No, I want to
It's
do
mixed.
more than that.
Doubles a big thing in the USA.
I think there are a lot of clubs interested in it. There's some mixed doubles bonspiels. I don't.
So I can give you this size.
I know in Boston at the Broomstones
Problem
Club
is
they have
I'm
a
gonna
mixed
wanna
doubles
run
bonspiel.
something here soon.
I don't know if it's. I think clubs are trying it out,
Yeah.
using it in
That-
various
where was
ways.
the last one?
And
Yeah, that was too much.
I know we tried a ladder league at my
I mean,
own
I
club
could
in New
always try
Jersey
and
with
run
it,
that.
and it was pretty well received. I think a lot of things is our
I
clubs
like
that
this
are
for
really.
now. Yeah.
Guess I better let Jay talk. But now he's done talking. Sorry about that. A lot of clubs like where we have.
I only got less than an inch of that top one.
I'm going to save this for later.
I shouldn't have asked the question right there. They're just going to try and draw another one in here, a freeze. They might just end up sitting for a third shot, even if they make this perfect. And USA could
Plenty of
maybe
weight.
just guard that in that
Just
case.
for line.
Yes. No, 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 no. Yes, now. Sorry. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Tight to the guard this time. Well, I think the U.S. still lies 2.
Nice. Getting past. Oh my God.
We needed it tight. Yeah, no, that was a good line call.
A lot of conversation on the Australian side. Probably the most communication we've heard between a pair of players.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really important. You don't have your sweepers, and so pretty much all information that you have should be passed on between the players just to keep the energy level up as well. I mean, if you're standing by yourself in the curling sheet, it's maybe not the easiest to just keep yourself on the go.
It can be a bit lonely if you're playing with someone who doesn't talk that much.
3, 2, 3,
Clean it.
2, 3.
Clean.
Pete and Marine use the 10,
Two.
the Furby system of draw weight. She's calling out 2, which is a midway guard.
Whoa. No, no, no.
1 being the high guard, 10 being just through the rings. Looks like that's going to over curl a bit, but
Jeez, I keep sliding.
didn't really change the situation a whole lot, actually.
Yeah.
It's good.
I think we can get by there with like,
You think?
Yeah, I
Enough for me to
do.
see?
well, like it moves there at the end. So if I throw
think just
back
do back-
4,
yeah,
back
yeah.
8 at the max, bump that back, we'll be sitting that and that,
Yeah.
and then you might have something on your last. I mean, I can't get shot
No.
here. And I don't have a run back right now either. So let's do that. Just pat that back.
Yep.
Again, tight to the guard.
Yeah.
Okay. Just with back.
Get more?
Do you want more, you think?
You're good.
I just throw back 4.
Do you like the out turn here instead of the in turn?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think I'd throw the intern again.
What would be the reason for that?
Well, I don't know how what he's gonna move enough here, but he seems to think he can get it with back 4. Just move something.
Guess if he played the intern and got a good angle on it, he could play it again with his next and maybe even score 2. If USA won't do the perfect guard. But we're going to see the out turn here and see what he can accomplish.
No line.
No?
Way out.
Way out.
He might prove us both wrong,
No
of course.
line. Lots of
What
weight.
about an inch there?
Yeah, yeah.
We've got.
Maybe. It's gonna do something.
Okay.
That was the best he could hope to do
Yeah.
with that shot.
Yeah.
So now I think the U.S. still lies 2.
No.
You are sitting too?
Yeah.
If he draws back to it,
She doesn't have anything to score now, right?
oh, unless he can, is that going to drag and come back?
I don't think she's going to play that.
I don't think that rock's going to drag onto that top one.
Do you want
Maybe
to
she
try and
would.
sit right in here? It gives her more to hit, but this is just going to jam here. I don't mind if we come right here. But
What's her
we're
easiest
sitting
way to
two.
cut us down?
The easiest way is to draw here,
Well, this is wide open too to cut us down.
because she could always,
If she hangs
she could
out
chip
here-
this one and
If
roll.
she
She could
hangs
chip
out
this
here,
one in.
she's got to get in. If she hangs out, we'd still get 2.
Yep.
I like this side.
We're down through.
Do you want to bring it here if we can
I think so. If
to
it's
sit
short,
3?
if it's
But,
coming.
but we got to be short if anything.
Yeah, that just gives her a bigger target to hit. But
Yeah, I mean, this one's not really going anywhere, even if we came in. So. Yeah, this at the most or short.
It's a pretty big either or, the guard or right in there. I think I'd commit to one shot or the other. That's not a. It's about a 10-foot difference, I think, really, isn't it?
Oh yes, but I think they're thinking that anywhere in between the guard and all the way down there is okay,
That's true.
which makes it easier than if it's, you know, you're either guarding or all the way down here. But still, it's good as a player in the hack to have a specific goal and not just think
Somewhere.
somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, they can't take away both draws, so I think they are taking away the easier draw with this guard. She will have a draw to cut them down with the out turn, but that will be a
it's got lots of line.
harder shot.
It's close.
You want to have a lot of line on these guards on this ice, though.
Line's looking
It
better.
will finish.
Probably get
Yep.
it there.
The line will
Yep,
look
line's
good.
better.
Now they're talking about bring it right in.
Whoa, whoa, it's like an 8.
And
Set
it
with an 8 again.
looks like it's
No,
all
good,
there.
7.
Yep.
Peter's
yep,
saying a
line's okay.
7, which means T-line.
Yep. Come on, yep,
Not quite
yep.
T-line.
All right, that's good.
It's a pretty good shot.
On the brakes. Just the way it was hanging out like that.
Just gonna
Yeah,
have to
I
bump
thought it
this
was
up.
heavy.
Just 4-foot weight. Okay?
Yep.
Just bump. We'll go real tight to the guard. Just 4-foot, Lene. Just 4-foot.
Like just 4 foot, I guess he means back 4. I don't know if they can get the angle to tap that up.
Well, it's a big curl and the guards are fairly high, so with just draw weight, they should maybe be able to catch
There's
quite
no
a
shortages
bit of that
stones in
yellow.
play.
Tap it just
Yeah.
enough to be second shot anyways. I think they'll have a hard time getting shot, but
But losing a steal of 1 isn't the end of the world.
No.
Difficult task here for Lynn Gill with the last stone of the third end.
Okay.
Needs to tap up a buried stone.
Saying back 8. He looks closer than
Close.
that, perhaps.
Yep, yep. All the way.
Don't think it was back 8, actually. That was the problem. She's going to move it enough. Can she move it just enough? Oh,
Okay.
Maybe I should have gone that way.
One for sure. Anyways.
not quite enough, I don't
Measure
think.
the other one if you want. Yep. No harm in that. Okay.
So at least a steal of 1. And
So
for
that was good. We could have
once
been on
again,
it,
we're
though,
going to
for
see the
weight-wise.
measure and the umpires come out and decide if it's 1 or 2.
Seen a measure in every game, I believe, right?
Well, I'm not surprised. The way mixed doubles work, it's just a lot of stones in the forefoot and really aggressive, so you're bound to have close calls.
I'm going red. What's your call?
I'm not going to bet against you.
Yeah. So on mixed doubles in the United States, I think there is interest in it. It is growing. Clubs are trying to figure out how to fit it into a schedule. And a lot of our clubs don't have a lot of free ice time. For instance, I mentioned briefly that the Stoltz curl in Minnesota at the St. Paul Club, and the St. Paul Club had well over 1,000 members, was at full capacity even with 8 sheets. So they built a new club in the Twin Cities area. But that's something we see a lot in the United States, clubs that are full or just about full. So I think mixed doubles could fill a nice role in using some time that may not be used, where there may not be enough time for traditional curling, because mixed doubles can be played more quickly. Perhaps we could see it fit into a club schedule in a way that traditional curling can't.
That is a good point.
See if they get the measure right this time.
The last game, Fredrik Hallström had to correct them. But
I think this one will be flawless. Well, I think it is.
It's quite close.
I think it's only 1 red. Yep.
1 red. Good call for the measure.
Yeah, we were right on it. The angle threw us. The angle in the overhead camera.
So, on the other sheets, Slovenia is playing France, as you said earlier, Dean, and France is right now with a 7-0 lead. Austria is up 6-0 on Denmark. And finally, Czech Republic is leading against New Zealand, 3-0. So we're actually on the only sheets where both teams are scoring, which makes for a better TV.
Yeah, I think that's good news for us.
Nice, real good. Nice throw.
Peter Stolt with the first rock in this 4th end of our feature match. USA carrying a 2-1 lead into the 4th end.
Good. Whoa, it's got to curl up.
They've stuck with this rotation where Peter's throwing 1-5. They've stuck with this ever since they changed in the 2nd end.
Yep.
No.
Nice shot, Pete.
And there we go. First stone is made.
Yes, well played by Peter there. Bit of an angle, but pretty good shot.
So Lyngill can just try and play the exact same weight she just threw.
She could,
Back throw.
if she could,
Back throw. Back throw.
Yep. Hard.
just be tight to the guard.
Hurry.
She can lock it on that,
It's alive.
keep the angle.
Good.
Pretty good shot.
Yeah, really nice shot. Pushes the red back into the side,
We'll buckle down.
which means
bear
it's
down
not
on it.
really dangerous for the Australians anymore.
Lynn laughing as she noted that Jay could have done more than cheer in that instance. Finally did get him to come out and pitch in a little bit. Unlike traditional curling, just standing in the house and yelling isn't always the most effective thing you can do. Once you know it has to be swept right to the end, it's probably not a bad idea to get out there and help out.
7, 6, 7.
1.
7, 7,
Top 4
8.
is okay.
8.
Room. Room.
8.
Never.
So 8 is not what the Americans are looking for here.
That's why it's not curling. I think it's a little stronger than 8 even. Well, maybe not. Jay's electing to play a draw here.
What would be the option?
Well, the other option would be the double and the roll,
I
or
don't
just
mind
the
that. Hers
hit
didn't
and
move
roll.
much. Yeah.
And might make a 3 a little more routine, but I think the freeze is certainly a fine call too. They are sitting 1-2 already, so he's got a good angle on that on the red that Marine just threw. Would be a good result.
Just for line.
Stay close. Stay close.
Just for line. It's there. It's there.
No line, no line, no line. How's the weight?
It's fine.
It's coming in.
Bumping.
You want to go in?
Nope.
I think they're in.
Whoa.
Just
All right,
I guess I
in the middle
should have been
there.
on that one.
they really would have benefited from chopping off there. There's a
They're clamping
really
in
good
it.
pocket to get in there now for the USA. I think sweeping it to, well, they were sort of in between there.
A rub will be good too. So same weight.
Deep breath. Gonna try and follow this down.
Yeah, it is important in mixed doubles. You sort of, like I've noted before, you start to rush around a bit. And you can get locked in this idea of rushing up and down the ice and not taking time to throw your stones. So good for Marine to take a moment to settle herself.
Yeah, I think when you have sweepers, you come down to the hack, or you're in the hack and you're talking to them and you're getting ready. But when you're just by yourself, you just kind of go down and sit in the hack and slide away, and it's really easy to lose focus.
Exactly. That could be a costly miss right there. That was their chance to get out of this situation. Wrecking on the guard wasn't that great.
No,
Marine noted
sitting
that
3 with hammer.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dean.
No, Marine noted that they're in trouble, and I think that is an excellent note to
Light was
make.
fine too.
They are in trouble, the USA, right now.
Bring it in here. It's going to be pretty tough for him to get them all out. This one might go, but I don't mind. If I'm light, I'm light. Where was I on the
You were
brim?
about there.
Okay. I mean, here's fine too. It doesn't
Yeah.
really much matter.
Well, I think the being in the forfeit would be
That's fine right there. We don't want any more.
Okay.
bring a 4 into play. 4 is definitely in play right now.
I think it's just quite an interesting thing to mixed doubles. Even though you have lesser stones than in regular curling, we see scores of 3, 4, and 5 a lot more often than you would in a normal game.
Looks light.
Well, you do
Mine's a
start
little
with
tight
one
on
in
you.
there already in the rings,
much
but
afraid.
we often don't see that one in as scoring, so
Looking good.
usually gets
Yes,
moved.
bring it up, bring it up,
Of course, if they are in real tight in the top 4,
bring it up.
Marine will be able to throw something hard at it, so this may not be a bad option. I don't think you want to fully bury it.
There.
All right, that's good.
Is there a way in there still?
Might need to run that one back,
Yeah, if they
that
can
card.
angle run that in. I mean, there's a number of good ways it can go in there.
Just hack weight.
Would you like that with a little bit more weight, Sarah?
I would love it with a little bit more weight.
I tend to agree with you on that. I don't think I'd throw a hack at this point. I mean, there's so many good things that can happen if you hit it in there angle this in with some pace on it, a lot of good things can happen. It can even come off your own and leave you in a pretty good spot.
You have a lot more options, because even if you don't make it perfect, you can still make a lot of yellow move.
And the other thing is, without sweeping, you throw it harder, it does make sweeping less of the equation.
Yeah, you really want to be on the right side of this. Don't want to over
They're
curl.
close. Oh, that is not going to be that good a result.
No, Australia is still sitting 3.
Sitting 3 now. They have to just figure out how to get another one in there. Actually, they've basically sealed off that one side. The intern is basically gone. And my skip in men's play, Heath McCormick, always says that he thinks hack weight is the hardest to throw, hardest to ice. And,
we can afford to take more.
hardest
I
to
don't
throw
want to
well.
rack on that guard.
Yep. Does that look good?
Interesting, Jay said rack on the guard. Do you say rack or wreck, Sarah?
Lights tolerance here, eh?
Well, I speak Swedish, so I would say wreck when I speak English.
Is it in Swedish? Do you say wreck or rack?
Neither.
What do you say when you hit a guard?
Goalie got.
Goalie got? Which means you're on the guard.
Yeah, kind
He
of.
might be wrecking, or goalie got
We
right
would
here.
also say kind of crasha.
He's crasha, wrecky rock,
Yeah.
racking, wrecking,
Just
all of it.
Just you go with Ricky Rock and he'll be fine.
All right, well, he Ricky rocked, wrecked, and racked. It's an interesting thing. There are parts of Canada where they say racked. That's what I grew up with, and but I have switched to wrecked.
Either way, when you play curling, you want to come past the guards.
Either way, you don't want to do any of those things in that scenario.
Get this one first.
No,
we'll
and
probably leave him
same
sitting
shot
free still.
available again for USA.
Get right in the pocket. This one's not really going anywhere, but we might push that out. If we're tight, I mean, if we go, we can go off that one.
Coming off that one's going to be tough.
If we go off this one, could
Yep.
be good.
Yep, we just got to get it coming this way.
Yeah, I'm just
What
wondering if it
weight
makes
you
more
wanna
sense to play more weight to have those options, because I don't really see any way we lose that one. You know, we're not going to hurt ourselves. They're all just sitting threes.
I don't know. I like back line because you just saw me throw it. But
I think Pete is right here. A little more weight can't hurt them. Take some of the guesswork out of the shot. Throw it clean and a little harder. A lot of good things can happen. Back line brings a lot of different scenarios into
we
it.
can't hit it too thin. We got to get here. Otherwise, we give them a wide open draw for 4.
If we hit it on the outside,
Yeah.
leave the pocket open.
Every single stone is still in play in this end. So
I
no
think that
stone
was
has
the
been
case
removed.
in the previous end as well.
Hack weight, if you have.
Yeah. Yours doesn't curl as much.
And if the Stoltz select to go with hack weight here, that will every stone will end up in play.
Give me like here.
So why are they not throwing more weight at this?
Well, Maureen's point was that that they just saw her throw it with back line to hack, so her suggestion was they would know the ice if they threw it that way. You and I, Sarah, being contrarians in this case, think that a little more weight would serve them well. I just think more good things can happen, and it might be a little easier to ice it to make sure you hit it high side. You could hit the one you could miss the guard and still hit the top yellow, pick that out. Stick yours around there. I think it makes doubles without sweeping. This kind of shot is harder. It brings a lot more variables into play.
Line's good.
Go firm. Board.
Close.
Well, he didn't throw it. It's not light.
Board.
That looks, Rock's got some curling to do. So he's a little pumped up. Threw it a little heavy. Actually hit it over the top.
And it's now wide open for that final draw for Australia.
It's a very difficult draw to miss at this point. You just have to sort of lob it into that pile.
Oh, this is, sorry. Yeah, okay. Right to the
Jay was
pot.
actually calling for top 8. Had to be
Yeah, that's
corrected.
fine.
That was indeed last shot.
Here we go.
Well, that's also the tricky part of mixed doubles. You're so used to, keep throwing until all of the stones are gone.
I I know it is difficult. When I played it in the Continental Cup with Heather Netta, when there were a couple times we weren't quite sure how many were left. I know one thing that the teams, the 2 rocks that you're not using are stick them at the back. That does help, because otherwise you're not sure how many you have left.
Jamie.
And because it's a different rhythm than we're used to in traditional curling, it is sometimes tricky to figure out how many stones are left to come.
Yep.
Actually, once in the Swedish Championships, had to get the live channel guys to replay how many stones we had thrown.
Did not want to be tight here.
Hurry.
Oh, that's...
Okay.
It's not.
Just give me the standard. Yeah, 3.
So Jay is saying 3, and they are all agreeing on that,
Weight was good, man.
which means that Australia will have a 2-point lead when we hit the halftime break. Players will have a couple of minutes off, and so will we. You see the line scores there. We will be right back with some highlights, so join us in a couple of minutes.
So look back at the highlights from the first 4 ends of our feature match. End number 1, Australia takes 1. Might have had a chance for more. Had a pretty good end going. Draw for 2 was heavy. 1 for Australia. They've jumped out to a 1-0 lead. In the second end, the United States gets 1. Peter Stoltz last here. Also heavy on a draw for 2. Score 1-1 after 2 ends. After both teams missed their draws for 2. In the end 3, Lynn Gill trying to cut down the United States and was successful here, actually. Looked like 2 at first to me.
Maybe I should have gone that way.
1 for sure.
But it turned into only 1 for the Americans there, so a 2-1 lead for the Americans playing the 4th end. Australia's lying 3 when Lynn Gill goes to throw her last. She's drawing for 4, but she racked, kajiggled, whatever it is, on the guard. And I can't remember the Swedish. Throwing the first stone. Come around. Sounds like she's heavy, and it's not curling as a result. Starting to come down a little bit. Still heavy, though. Slips to the back 8.
Yeah, not going to do them any good there, as USA can now come around again. It'd be quite nice to see them play this just top 8-foot or 12-foot. Make it really difficult for Australia to play a good freeze and maybe have them roll off and then maybe set up a 3 or more.
They are looking for it in the top 8.
Okay, yep, line's better, yep.
We have a couple of other games going on. I can tell you that France is up on Slovenia by 8-0. Denmark had a little comeback against Austria, took 3, so they're now just trailing by 3. It's 6-3 for Austria there. Finally, New Zealand is playing Czech Republic. Czech Republic stole another one in the 4th end, so they are up 4-0.
So Peter Stoll with his first, a good result. Not second shot, but top, just biting the top 8. And we think that's a good spot for it, don't we, Sarah?
We love it. Makes it a little bit more difficult for Jay here. I mean, he can see a little bit of the red shot stone, but he needs to be perfect with this freeze.
Yeah, I mean, the miss here would be a little bit short. He certainly doesn't want to chap off.
Chap off, does that mean roll off?
Roll off, yes, the chap.
The only word that I know, so I'm just, you know, learning a couple of more from you.
And again, what has he done here? No, he has.
Ricky racked.
Is that what it is, Ricky racked?
I don't know, that's what you said.
No, I made that up.
I think you're always right, so I just copy.
Well, Shirley, I was guessing my Swedish, so you got to give that to me again. I've got a bad memory.
Well, he did hit the guard, if we say it that way, then.
Okay, so if he wrecked in Swedish, we would call that.
We basically say that we go in the guard.
Okay. That makes no sense to me.
Well, that's because you're American.
Down weight.
I can buy into it. It makes a lot of sense. You go into the guard, makes more sense than anything else I've heard, actually. So they're looking for the roll here, or even the double wouldn't be all bad either.
No, definitely not.
The roll might be the way to start building a big end, but actually the double would be pretty great.
It was over 20. It was over 20.
Well, the roll might leave Australia with a double back.
A little bit of conversation going about the time.
Our clock's running now.
Some concern about time clocks out there.
I know. Now there's his. Yeah. That's.
I guess they didn't switch the clock
Sorry, Pete.
in time.
They've been running them. They've been running them extra long, hey, in between ends. And I wouldn't have a problem with it if we're tight. Yeah.
So my rock, if I flip it back
So
over,
I just get it
fine,
green
right?
or something.
The Australians do have about 5 minutes less time than the Americans at this point in the game, and I haven't really noticed them playing that much more slowly, but maybe they do have a few more conversations. I think Jay's point is that maybe their clocks have been slow to switch over. I'm not so sure about that, but I guess they're going to investigate. The officials are.
Well, he is a lawyer, so maybe he's just really good at arguing for his cause.
He's made his case to the umpire. Back to the game, Marine looking for this double or perhaps a roll. I don't think you want to roll and leave them that. You could roll a rock and a half and it wouldn't be that good.
Close. No.
10 and a half.
No. No. Yep. Yep, roll it. Nice shot.
That may not be too bad. I can't exactly see how much of it is behind the guard.
10.
Right here. 10-5.
He's going to be drawing. It's actually a pretty good shot. They could slash.
Six to half. Please it.
Really a half rock
we'll play
double.
this. Right there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the call.
Try and get it that way.
You want to hit that there?
What?
There?
Yeah, they are up by 2 points. They don't want to give USA the opportunity to score a big end back.
That was the problem with that a roll of that distance. It leaves this shot, which with peel weight, thin half of the rock works pretty well. I think it'll clear the back yellow and the back red if you do that. Oh, the backswing delivery with peel from Jay Merchant. Bringing it all back Pee Wee Pickering style there. I told you I'd throw Pee Wee Pickering in once. Oh, and the triple.
Gets
that
a
was
really
there.
good result there.
I thought that could happen. Came straight back.
I don't even think that USA thought about that when they played the previous shot. They weren't really discussing where they could roll and where it wasn't really good to roll.
Yeah, I think the nose or rolling even to the wide side would have been better, and there was really no good place to roll inside. I don't think, because you were going to just butt up against your own stone like they did.
Close. Whoa. 6.
Yep.
But there's still a good chance for a deuce here with one rock
6,
deep
7, 7.
and Yellowstone deep in the rings and a centerline guard.
Yep, right to the tee.
Digging in. This one grabs.
It looks like they have some good line here. Want to
Good
get
line.
it
They
buried.
just need to bury it and beat top four. It's a good result.
Nice shot.
Thanks.
Come here.
Marine
Jam there.
catching her breath.
Good here's fine.
Yeah, running up and down,
She's going
throwing
directly
and
to the.
sweeping.
Yeah, that's what it is. You end up running up and down. She's going directly to the far end all the time. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's best to stay sort of in between. Although this end right now is fairly straightforward.
What would you benefit from staying in between?
Well, as I noted that I learned in the Continental Cup, sometimes it makes it a little easier for the communication. It actually ends up being quicker because you're able to hear each other and both see the rings pretty well, have a quick conversation, and then head to the hack versus shouting from the other end. And your playing partner not really hearing you, or you not hearing your playing partner.
Tight to the guard.
And like I mentioned, Sarah, that can be frustrating in any
Tight to the guard.
partnership of a man and a woman, right? Marriage or otherwise, if one person's yelling and the other person can't hear.
Well, that should be frustrating in all types of relationships.
That's true.
And that would be frustrating too. Not really helping Australia to put one back 8 foot there.
No, being back 8 is really no better than, probably worse than being through, actually. If they can get this one, bite the button, tuck a little bit of it behind the one that Marine just threw.
Basically just want to make sure that you're a little bit deeper than the other red so that there's no double available.
5.
And this could stick on the back yellows.
Clean it.
6. 6, 7.
A little bit past this one.
7 means T line. I think 6 would be better.
Ball, ball.
Don't really want to be T or deeper than that. Don't want to be deeper than T. No. Let that rock sit down. It's actually a gem.
You get a 4 on that?
Might have been nice if it tucked a little bit more of it back there, because she can bump it and actually sit shot.
Even back button is fine.
Yeah, but though if she won't, like, if she catches the outside of this and if she won't curl enough, then it could jam and she could roll a little bit into the open. It could be a chance for 3.
Yep. If they'd been able to tuck even a quarter of a rock more, that would have been really looked difficult from the other end. But it's not a good looking setup from the hack, I'm sure. You can get to nose on it though, or even better than nose.
Yeah, tap is good, but even if she just plays weight right through it and it'll right to it and freezes this, it's
Back 4, maybe more.
Called out back 4, maybe more. It looks to me like it's a little bit more than back 4.
It's coming, isn't it?
it's so easy to be just a bit heavy on these taps.
Hard! Whoa!
I think Jay was sweeping it, hoping to
So we could outcount that one.
miss the red, which was actually a pretty good call. If coming to that yellow left them second shot.
I think it looked like they were, but I'm not sure.
They're looking at it now, the Americans. It was a good sweeping call, actually, because if they just chopped off the red, it's a really easy 3 for the Americans. It looks like it's still 3 for the Americans. We're still 2 right now, drawing for 3.
Go down to it, but I don't
But
mind.
then we can bounce up. Yeah.
I think you want to play into your own here.
You got it. Let me know weight.
Peter Stoll heading back to throw his last in this end.
Yeah, the last words were "you got it," so he should feel good.
Do you think that's better than our young Scottish team today? They said, don't throw it tight like your last one. No, they said, if you throw it tight like your last one.
I will help you to sweep. I think the intentions were good,
Yes.
but if you've done any sports psychology, I'm gonna think that you agree on the fact that maybe won't help you.
What do you think of sports psychology, Sarah?
I think it's really important, actually. Well,
Line's good.
everyone's probably different, but
Clean.
your thoughts and feelings are definitely gonna have an impact on what you're gonna do, in my opinion. So
Whoa, whoa.
it's important to be aware of them. What would you say?
I'd agree with that. Let's watch this last rock come in. We don't want to.
Oh,
Oh,
That Pete.
oh, not enough. No. Jeez. Motion, nice shot, but he had to get by it like Lynn did to get squared, to get right on the nose of that one.
manages to tie the game up though at 4 each.
Unfortunate for the Americans to leave that point off the board, though, because that was a big point.
If we hit that, we were going to spin.
Going up by 1 would be a lot more comfortable. They almost got by. They just probably need to sweep it to get by and nose that back one. But they were sort of in between. No, I do believe in sports psychology to a degree. I tend to think that best curling teams, chemistry in a curling team, we talk a lot about it. I think it does well. You do well when you're winning. Do we want to have any updates from other sheets?
Definitely, France is still with a big lead over Slovenia, now 9-0. Czech Republic leading Norway 4 shots to 1. And we just had a measure between Denmark and Austria. I'm not sure what the score was there.
Czech Republic playing New Zealand, actually, right?
Yes, sorry, I just saw the N and made it up. Norway was on that sheet
Fake
earlier.
it till you make it.
Well, I could have made it unless you had,
I
told
wrote
on
it
me.
down in advance because that's the scoreboard they hide with that ficus tree or small
Christmas tree?
Christmas tree, a small shrub.
It was 1 more point for Austria, so they are now leading that game 7 points to 3. And when talking about sports psychology, I think in this point, it's just really important when it comes to communication within your team. Like, what do you say to your teammates, and when do you say it? Like, if it's showing half a rock, do you say from the hack, I can barely see half, or do you say I can see half of this? And what shot do you think your skip's going to make?
Yeah, I think all that training can be helpful. Peter Stolt just made a real nice shot in his first one here in this end. And now Lynn Gill's coming down to try to corner freeze on it. A little heavy.
I think this has been the problem for Australia, just being a little bit too heavy with their freezes. USA has been struggling with that too, but with that one made perfect, they're just able to apply so much more pressure.
Rain. Short's okay. At the most, just tap it, but.
Looking to move the red just a bit or be top 8. Right now, yellow's still shot, but it's still quite early. Even in a mixed doubles end, it's still quite early, so you don't have to be shot at this point.
Six, 7, 7.
Whoa.
7.
Whoa.
Sounds like a lot of room.
Too much. 8.
And heavy as well.
Okay, get it back here. Don't line walk.
It's all there. Way heavy. I didn't think I kicked out that hard.
Okay.
Obviously.
Way heavy,
Get on that.
as Maureen said.
It's extended or something. They had a good time. I think they must have gave it and set it just a little bit.
So this team, I guess, also using split times with the person in the house doing the split.
That should be fine.
You think it might be confusing having someone in the house doing the split from all the way down there?
I think so. I think mixed doubles is, the game it's a touch game. I think you go with feel and touch, and maybe put the watches away, except maybe late in the game do some hog to hog times just to see if the ice changes. But apart from that, I don't think I can endorse using the stopwatches all that much.
Especially from the far end. I mean, there's going to be a lot of room for error, and you're just as likely to give your partner the wrong information all the time.
Yeah, and Pete in that instance said he thought she threw a good time. Direct on the guard here, Jay.
What happened there?
It's kind of been the story for him a couple of times as well.
Yeah, he's wrecked a lot, enough for me to really explore all the different ways to say wrecked in other languages.
I'm not really sure you've succeeded with that, though.
Oh, I've only done Swedish and English. What are they?
I'm not even sure you succeeded with Swedish or English yet.
So harsh in the criticism of my
I'll write
dissection of the Swedish language.
I'll write you a little dictionary.
Yeah.
Control.
The Norwegians, what do they say when they wreck?
They will say pretty much the same as Swedes, but they will sound a little bit happier when they say it.
Is that indicative of the Norwegian, the language they speak? Is that really the difference?
Kind of, yeah.
They just sound happier.
Yes.
The hit's not bad.
Is that because they're happier or the language is happier? We're talking right through them talking
like
here.
that?
Let's.
Yep.
Okay.
And they got quiet. There is a hole here, a gap, so definitely a good possibility to come through.
They're going to play the hit. Just come through and try to nose their own and sit 2. Really want to make sure you stay on nose and not set up some sort of double through the hole or double back.
They're not taking a lot of ice here, and it's should curl quite a lot.
Called it 10.5 out of her hand, but looked like
really
she
going.
dropped that in turn just a little bit on her release. She's wrecked.
Well, just as you hear Peter said that they were close to the center line, probably they have not really been throwing a lot of stones down that track, and it will tend to curl a bit more. They didn't throw a lot of weight and still had very tight ice.
Yeah, it didn't look like much ice for a 10.5, which they would say is hog to hog 10.5. That's not an upweight throw. So yeah, and he was just outside the rock or just on the rock with the broom. So
maybe wanting to try and score with the pre-positioned stone here. I think this is a guard from Australia.
It's like a little more than guard
To
weight to it.
No touch. Don't touch. Stop.
He just doesn't want to move the red.
It's gonna
Bumping.
hit it. It's gonna hit it.
That's fine.
Bumping the red. If you can rearrange it here, it's pretty good without much in front.
Let it go over.
Doesn't want to get right on the nose of it, though.
That's good.
Pretty good result. Without a lot of guards, and that red is certainly exposed now and available. Have you ever curled with a baseball cap on, Sarah?
No.
I've tried it. I don't like it. I know a lot of guys do.
Come right here. Just right anywhere right in the center line.
I think they definitely want to be.
Top 8.
If they could corner freeze on that yellow, would be the great shot. Protect their red. Leave another red in there. It's a big shot here because that it's a big end building if they don't make something special here.
They need to make sure that Australia can't get to that red shot stone.
3, 2, 3, 3,
Oh, clean it.
3, 4,
2,
4,
3 would be just a guard.
3,
Calling 3 now. That's just
Yep.
a tight guard.
3.
It's over curling though.
An over curl.
Whoa. Whoa.
So I'm not sure if Maureen is throwing enough rotation on with these aggressive rocks and on this ice. That rock was curling early. Now
Yeah,
that-
now it's available for 3 or 4 if they can hold this.
Yeah, the red is available. You could almost just say, well, we can take our 3 pretty easily and just rip it out. But if you do that, you'll leave the one at the back to freeze to. Oh, Jay's going to call a timeout. Talk about it with his dad. Australia has 2 rocks to come. The United States has just 1.
We got 2 options here. Essentially, I can come down with a hack weight or a backline weight and push it through and sit there, or I can just pick the damn thing through the hole. So I want that out though.
Yeah,
Oh.
but I mean,
Spit,
just
lightweight.
hit and sit there. You don't want to have. I don't think you want to throw heavy weight on it.
Okay.
They're just going to freeze to your back.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay.
You know, even if you roll over a little bit, he's got to move something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So just back weight. Tap back.
Yeah, I think you'll just want that.
Like a hack weight kind of thing.
Yeah, just back ring even. You know,
Yeah,
take
just
it
to
Okay.
get it.
Okay.
What do you think here, Sarah? I think. What do you think on that? What sort of weight would you like to see here? They're going to throw back ring, back line.
Well, that would probably save, leave them sitting maybe 4, but could also leave some sort of double or hit and roll in. I don't know if you want USA hitting or freezing the back one. I mean, the perfect freeze isn't easy.
I mean, Jay's dad there, their coach, was saying to sit right there. They can't see enough of the rock to sit right there. So I think if they throw down weight, they're going to roll over into the left side of the forefoot, which leaves the United States an out. Whereas if they just pick it, you're actually leaving them to freeze to a single rock, which may be a good way to get 3. I might be tempted just to pick this and maybe even throw normal at it and hope you save your shooter on the far side right out of there. I don't think you want to roll just a little bit.
And I think you want this to curl if you're Australian.
You certainly want to hit it. I mean, that's a tough result.
Really big mistake there.
I think that was a case of trying to get a little too fine with it. If they rip it out of there and lie 3 and make Maureen Stolt face 3 and have to throw either a freeze or a delicate hit, they're in a real good position to get 3. Now she can guard this. And some of the United States has a good opportunity to steal one. Or Pete can guard it, since he'll be throwing it.
That would make sense. Do you think we see that often after a timeout a shot is missed?
Well,
Pete, do you think
I
this
think-
is here at all?
I don't think,
I guess it
let's
doesn't
say I don't
matter,
know
they
if
stick it.
Everything leave them that.
the Australian coach handled that timeout. especially well, but so we saw that today, right? In our game when the timeout happened, we didn't see a good result after it.
Yeah, I think I've seen that a couple of times. It's
I mean, you
just sometimes seem to put players out of rhythm, or they overthink shots with the timeouts, and
1, 2,
I don't know.
2, 3.
What do you like when your coach comes out? Clear direction, clear idea?
2, 3.
Yes.
That's what I think. I think you come out and make a call. He did do that. He came out and made a call. The trouble was I don't think they could see enough of that rock to make the shot the way they wanted to.
Dying 4, 5.
The doubles there now.
Well, there's a double. Dangerous double, though.
Dangerous double, but it's for 3.
Or maybe for
4.
4 if they don't jam it. If they hit it a little high side, though, they give up a steal of 2. Looks like they're going to play it. Don't really have any other good options.
No.
May as well play it.
Let's just go for it.
Just a hair high. Just a hair high. It works pretty well.
Yeah, pretty much a nose it here for Lynn Gill.
Throwing normal weight. What do you think Lynn's hog-to-hog normal weight is?
Maybe 10 seconds.
Probably.
Yep. Whoa!
Early call for sweeping, then off. That's probably a good sign for the Australians. Say she might be close.
It's a bit heavier than normal.
You don't want to hit it too. Well, good enough to get 1.
Good shot. 1.
Good enough to get 1. Don't think she had enough weight to really get the double. Well, I think the Americans should breathe a sigh of relief after that end.
Yeah, definitely. If you leave a double for 4 and your opponent score 1, then you can relax a little bit. Australia leading the game 5 shots to 4 after 6 ends. We've got 2 more to go.
If we update the other sheets, there are handshakes on sheet D. France with a convincing 9-1 win over Slovenia. Austria is up 7-6 over Denmark. Austria with the hammer after Denmark took 3 in the 6th. And New Zealand against Czech Republic. The Czech Republic is up 6-1. New Zealand has the hammer playing the 7th end. Austria on sheet D, or sheet B, they are last year's bronze medalist. The Toth-Roth combination. So the Aussies start the 7th end with 11 minutes left. Still comfortable
I should be fine.
after some time clock discussion. Lynn Gill shooting 52% for the tournament so far.
Where's the weight?
They've only had 1 game coming into this.
It's got gloves.
Ooh. Never.
I thought you said for weight.
Never.
Another one that's going to slip to the back of the house.
All
Or
the way through, actually. It's got to be a bit frustrating now. Jay even yelled out early saying,
Sorry, my bad.
short is fine.
For that top one, so I was like, oh, okay. Lynn,
Not exactly sure what happened there.
No.
oh, wait, think top 8, we can sweep it
Why
in.
that rock was moved back? I'm a little bit confused by that. Unless she burned her own stone just before it hit it. It's about the only thing I can think.
Well,
She might have touched it. Her stone, the running stone.
Hold back.
Marie Stoltz, 59% for the tournament based on their first game.
Mine's good.
Said she pulled it back, which means she squashed it a bit as she let it go. Thinks she was a little heavy. Sometimes when you do that, it comes out of your hand a little soft and starts to curl a bit more, but this might be pretty good. In fact, it's a little deeper than they probably would have been ideal.
well, there is a little pocket here for Jay Merchant to try and find.
Jay seems to be concerned that he's a little tight on time. I don't think he really is.
Yeah, really, really hurrying out of the hack. Let's see if he keeps the accuracy, even though he is sliding fast.
I'm going to guess that he's a type A guy who moves fast a lot of the time, so I think he'll be okay.
How can you tell that?
Did you detect that?
Well, it seems to be working for him. He plays
Yeah.
a very nice shot there.
Shooting 75% for the tournament so far.
Say that's pretty good for mixed doubles.
I don't think he's the shy retiring type, so I think if he moves briskly through the game, that'll be just fine for him. It's a pretty good spot for his first. Peter Stolt in the hack.
And USA coming with the intern here. Would maybe thinking they would get better angles with the outturn side, would you say?
I tend to agree with that, Sarah. I think the outturn would be the better call.
Because this way you're going to angle it onto your reds rather than for it to go freely by.
Working this really hard, trying to get it by the guard. And a little light, too. Spun back a bit. The United States still lying 2.
Even if I'm here.
A precarious 2, but they are lying 2 right now.
Tight to the guard.
The
Same
angles
way.
aren't really great for either
Tight to
team
the
right
guard.
now, actually. I think Jay is thinking he can promote his yellow just a bit.
Yeah, and we can also let you know that handshakes between New Zealand and Czech Republic. Czech Republic just stole another 2, so they won that game 8 shots to 1.
Huh?
Lynn Gill saying he's lots of room. And I'd say, by the way, he cleared that guard. He might be a little heavy here, Jay Merchant.
So no big difference after that shot was played.
Touches the reds a little bit. The Americans, I think, here are content to try to save those 2 and just play for a deuce at this point, which probably not a bad way to go because it seems they're moving that yellow at all is going to be, it's tough to move it to a place that will help them.
And since they don't have a whole bundle of stones left to work with the yellow, they might as well protect what they have already.
Peter Stolt backing off this one. They're hoping it finds some gravel. Not terrible.
Tap, tap, tap.
Not terrible, and Australia is going to go tap, tap, tap. Want to be
Might be able to-
careful.
2-3 inches, eh?
Sorry, what might they be able to do?
Well, I think they'll be able to, even if they'll just rub off that red, but they should be able to sit shot stone.
I think that same weight's fine.
So you're looking for the same weight he just threw, which was what, about back 8?
Back 12, back 8.
You can see about a quarter of the red one that he's trying to hit onto his own yellow. On its way, he's up and after it. It's interesting, he's sweeping with a slider on, but he sweeps on the offside.
Yeah, that means you'll get the weight on kind of the wrong foot.
Yeah. It worked though.
Yep. I think they're shot now.
I think they're shot, but I think there's a hole there. If Peter Stolt could run one right through that hole, wouldn't the yellow spill off out the right-hand side?
Looks like it would.
They might be able to sit 2, 3 if they were really lucky.
There might be a hole there for him.
Sounds as though Jay Merchant pulled out his 2009 Quebec Provincials language there and said, say bo on that. For all the languages out here today.
You're cold-hearted.
What does that mean?
That's beautiful. That's good. Or say bon, say bon. Say bon is good.
So
Curiously,
they're not going through the hole, but running the red guard.
Okay, you got it.
That hole might be smaller than it looks to us here. It's not big.
Yeah, I mean, it's there, but it'll all depend where the 2-rock goes. It could bounce and split outside.
Do you think it's more difficult to get the yellow one moving if you run the guard rather than coming through the hole?
I think through the hole would be better if it's available. 'Cause I think the yellow would come off less directly onto the red that it's going to make contact with.
Need some weight here. Peter Stolt.
Oh. Almost a bit of a stumble, but he kept his balance. Exciting. He's got to stay high side. I'll tell you what.
A lot of red in there now.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
he freed everything up, and the Aussies have one to come. So a mistake here could be costly for them.
We can do this. Put another one in here.
I think second shot would be a good plan with all that red in there.
She might have a double.
Play a come around. They could just come around the play a come around the yellow.
Guarding, it swings a lot. And if you don't guard it completely, she's got to take out for a lot. But we could also take this one out and hit that. Like that? Yeah, just a hit flop. Or we, yeah, no, actually I quite like that better. Just your normal.
So they are going to play the hit on that red. Probably a good idea. They can hit and roll behind cover. Take one red out. Jay asked for Lynn's normal. Even the nose hit isn't bad.
No, that would leave a very difficult double. Maybe force USA to only taking one. Would like to sit 2 after this.
Stand a bit. It's okay. It's normal. Come on, get over, get over, get over, get over.
Yeah, okay. No, that's good.
We'll just roll a bit too far.
And there's a hit for 3.
I just gave you too much ice. You were on the board.
Just has to get inside of the one that's in front of the American Redstone.
6 minutes, 13 seconds left. You were right, my friend.
Board?
Board weight. Got a couple options here, though.
Very makeable here for 3. To let it come up, hit about, I mean, you can hit half the rock with board weight and save your shooter and score 3.
Yeah, I just needed to curl another 8. The weight was good. No, the weight was good. I just should have gave you a bit better ice.
See if Maureen Stolt takes a breath on this one. Might be a good time to do that.
I do like the guard, but if we...
They switched back. They switched the order again. We hadn't even noticed.
No, we hadn't even noticed.
We need to be sharper on that, but yes, Maureen's throwing 1 and 5 here. She has skipped a women's team to a 5th place finish at the U.S. Nationals.
I try to pick it.
I think she's full on this. Now Pete's talking about picking it for 2. This was a good call. The deuce popped it out. So the United States will take a 1-point lead into the 8th end, playing the 8th end up 1 without the hammer. There's the score we see there after 7. 6 for the United States, 5 for Australia.
And you got to think that this is when you quite like the mixed doubles format. If you're United States, if you make this first freeze perfect, then you could just play to steal this end, win the game that way.
Right, play for the steal, and when you do that in mixed doubles, or even in traditional curling, it often makes more than one tough for the other team, and then you take the hammer into the extra. Haven't seen an extra end in one of our feature games yet. Little update, Austria and Denmark. Denmark has the hammer playing 8. They're down 8-6.
Yeah, they've really come back in that game with 2 scores of 3. They were down 6-0 to begin with.
The Americans have gone back to the Peter Stolt throwing 1 and 5 order with Maureen Stolt 2-3-4. Maybe we need a sports psychologist to analyze that for us, Sarah. Does it make sense to be switching positions?
Well, maybe we can just ask them.
Ask Pete and Maureen, or ask the sports psychologist?
I'd say both.
Yeah, sure.
Either way,
You gotta come here, Lynn.
you might need the sports psychologist to help with making the first perfect freeze.
Right here's good too, eh?
Because when you do that and wreck on the guard instead, you're going to be struggling.
Yes. The sports psychologist might be needed to discuss how you come back after that miss.
Where?
Well, you just get another player to throw, which is a good thing.
Oh.
Lim Gill saying it's T, but it looks to me like it's a bit more than T. Boy, oh boy, they've had a lot of these that have been heavy at inopportune moments to be heavy. Of course,
Yeah.
there's really rarely a good time in any kind of curling to be heavy, is there?
No, but we've seen so much in this game that, you know, big opportunities for one team and then they just kind of miss and leave it over to the other one. So really high pressure shots haven't been made. Let's see if Maureen Stolt can step up and play a good freeze here.
Freeze is good. Top 8, top 4 isn't bad either, of course.
No, definitely not. I mean, giving up 1 is still fine here. They would have hammer in the extra end.
6, 7.
Well,
6, 7, 5, 6.
Way out there.
A lot of room to. Got a long way to curl.
This top 12 is fine.
I don't think she is 6, 7. It's a little shorter than that. They're going to have to go on this. They should switch. Put Pete on the other side. Pete next to the rock to promote some curl. Does your team switch, Sarah, sweeping?
Yes,
Switch
we
who's
do.
next to the stone? We haven't seen much of that in mixed doubles this week.
No, maybe, you know, a lot of the time sweepers have one side that they prefer and they maybe struggle sweeping on the other side, and you normally only see one person sweeping, so...
Yeah, and I think sometimes when you do get 2 sweepers, you're sort of both rushing out there and it seems like you're late to sweeping, so maybe you don't think about who's next to the rock. Jay Merchant with an opportunity here to get to lie 2.
Yes.
just for line.
Yes, and yes.
The guard?
Yeah, this one. Yeah, it's gonna bounce. It's gonna bounce. Too late.
Bumping.
Jay wrecking here. Well, this is an interesting development at the 8th end. No centerline guards. And an open yellow in the rings.
Down late.
Normal end of curling here now.
So maybe not looking to steal anymore. Just making sure that Australia can only take 1 by removing this yellow.
And as Jay Merchant just noted, it's a normal end of curling now. They could just exchange hits. There's a pair of corner guards there, though, staggered corner guards that the Australians could use. But they could play it fairly open and concede 1. The Americans could.
9.5.
No. Nope.
Schrock has a bit of curling to do.
It's coming. Nose is all right.
I think the nose is actually fine. I think rolling behind the corner guard wouldn't have been that advantageous.
Actually, we'll just bump that back.
That's a little up.
What do you think, Sarah?
I think that was quite a good shot.
Back
Australia's going to go to bump it
Actually,
now.
just wanna know
Think they
snap.
could maybe actually try
Well, even
and
if I freeze on it, that's fine. I could raise it
roll
later.
behind the corner.
Yeah, I think Jay's thought is if they can move it back to the back ring, they might have a chance to get around the corner later or leave it. And then we'll be able to get around the corner and have something back there. But yeah, they could just play hit and roll behind those staggered corner guards. Those staggered corner guards could be a real problem for the Americans in this end.
To it.
Lots of room. No line.
Got a lot of curling to do here. It should finish hard, though.
Might even back.
Yeah, once you get close and start to go over the center line, the stones should really go.
About what he was hoping to do.
That was good weight.
So USA just going to play the same shot here. Just going to keep hoping, I guess, that Australia won't make it between the corners.
I wonder if our stats people can give us numbers on the amount of words exchanged between the Stoltz and between Lynn Gill and Jay Merchant as a comparison. I'm going to say the Americans have used half as many words, and we'll have to see if that's worked as well for them. Maybe that's what happens when you're married. They communicate more easily with fewer words.
Maybe they can just look at each other.
Look into each other's eyes and they know what shot they want to play. They don't say a whole lot to each other on the ice, that's for sure.
No, but when they do speak, they use a lot of very confident and secure words, and they go like, "You got it."
They do.
So they seem very supportive.
They're supportive of each other. We're going to turn into couples counselors here pretty shortly.
I think we could do a lot of things. Sports psychology, communication.
What's going on?
We'll have to start our own consulting firm, Sarah, where we do all those things. And there's the jam.
Ooh.
And that was not the result they were hoping for. Nose would have been okay there.
Nose would have been good.
Yeah. Now they have the corner guard. They have the rock behind the tee line. And the Aussies are well positioned to get a deuce. A sort of a traditional curling deuce, actually.
I'll tell you after the game. Right here's
We
good.
want to really cover it too.
Sorry? Yeah, top 8. Top 4 is not bad, but
If they're full
I
8
just don't
foot.
want to set up a double.
If they're full 8 foot, sort of half buried, would be pretty good. Almost a Christmas tree of sorts.
Of course, a Christmas tree means that the stones are overlapped, showing about half.
Yeah, I think you'd still show a little more than half of the back one, but it's close to it's a poor man's Christmas tree. Let's call it that.
I just want you to know that I'm listening and learning what you're teaching me.
I hope you are. I know I've learned already much about the Swedish way of life and how your language is sad compared to the Norwegians. Here comes this one. He wants to tuck a little bit of it.
Definitely want to stay in front of the tee line too,
Yes.
but no.
Don't want to be deep. Just biting the 8 foot there would have been great. Didn't have to be anything more than just full 12.
That beer looks pretty good up there.
Might be a little early for the beer call, Jay.
Kind of anywhere in here.
Okay. You got it.
There's Peter Stolt with his last. The Americans' last. I think you could call this a big shot.
Yeah, really an important one. If you don't make it, you lose the game. So could definitely call it a big shot.
Yeah, he's facing 2. Needs to put it in a place that's tough to get it out. Of course, the freeze is available here. You could lock this on, or even be not perfectly frozen, but at the right angle.
What is the right angle?
Well, I think if he bites the top of the button, right, and is like sort of a quarter buried, I think it would jam on the yellow that Jay Merchant just threw.
Clean.
Sarah.
Well, it's got to curl.
That doesn't sound promising, though.
Yeah, that's back 12.
Back 12, and it's got a curl. Now they're calling for sweeping, though. I don't know what. Oh, my. Ouch.
And that would mean Australia wins the game.
Wins the game through the hole for Peter Stolt. An unfortunate end for the Americans. The Aussies get their first win. The Americans go to 0-2. And there you see the replay. They tried to sweep it to hold it and ended up going right through the hole. And the Australians didn't have to throw their last rock to take two and win the game. There's the final score, 7-6 for Australia over the United States of America. Australia taking two with the hammer in the last end, not having to throw their last rock to do it. Captured their first win here in Group B and moved to 1-1. The Americans go to 0-2. Stay tuned here for an interview with the Australian team and highlights of the last half of this game. Here's the highlights from the last four ends of the game between Australia and the United States. A game won by the Australians. Fifth end, Peter Stolt trying to draw for three. He just chaps off his own and this has to settle for just two. So they tried to sweep it to that back yellow, but failed to do that. The sixth end, the Australians trying a double here for a bundle. Tried to double and didn't move that one quite far enough, but moved it far enough to score one in the sixth end. In the seventh end, last rock for Maureen Stolt here. Coming down and trying to make the hit for three. Hit it on the high side, chipped it out to take two. So the Americans went to the final end, up by one without last rock. Peter Stolt's last, a little bit heavy. They tried to sweep it to hold it on the back, yellow, and then instead just slipped through the hole, gave up the deuce. The Australians win without having to throw their last rock. Handshakes. The Australians again move to 1-1. The Americans settle at 0-2. Your interview with the Australian team is coming right up.
congratulations. What do you think were the keys to winning that game?
Well, making more shots than our game this morning helped, and just coming out and enjoying ourselves and playing well. We did just that today. It was a good game. We made a lot of shots, and it worked out in the end.
You're actually the first Australian woman to represent Australia in a World Championship. What does that mean?
Well, it means that curling is building a lot in Australia, and hopefully promote it more within the country so we can get more juniors to get involved and more people involved to play the game. So it's great.
In other words, she's excited.
I'm very excited.
Great. So what are you taking with you from this game that you're going to take on to the rest of the week?
Look, we're taking on the fact that we can make those shots out there that we need to win these games, and hopefully we can continue. Both Lynn and I made some really good shots tonight, and we'd like to keep moving on with that.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.